Good afternoon and welcome to today's Reckon interview. My name is Kavosha House. I'm once again taking over the hosting duties for my colleague John Hammondtree. And today's guest is Haylie McCleney. She's a professional softball player from Morris, Alabama, and a summa cum laude graduate from the University of Alabama. She earned her master's degree at Florida Atlantic University in May 2018. But while wearing the crimson and white down in Tuscaloosa, she was named an All-American 4 times and an academic All-American and a finalist for the Collegiate Player of the Year 3 times each. For the past 7 years, Haylie has helped the United States national softball team earn several gold medals all across the world, and was now preparing to represent Team USA once again when softball returns to the Olympic Games next year in Tokyo, and hopefully bring back that gold from the host country, Japan. And but on top of her stellar career on the diamond, she has a passion for making athletes better both on and off the field through her second career as a strength and conditioning coach. But for now, Haylie and her teammates are using their love for the sport to bring awareness to racial inequality and social justice in America with This Is Us Softball. Thanks for joining me today, Haylie.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. And if anyone here listening to us today, if you have any questions for Haylie, just drop them in the comments and she'll answer them towards the end of the interview. All right, so Haylie, before we talk about where you are in the present, we have to start with your past. So just talk about your childhood in Morris and how you found softball.
Yeah, I grew up in Morris, Alabama, very small town, 2,000 people, not much to do really other than go outside and play sports. So that was kind of the extent of my childhood. My dad was a high school football, baseball, and basketball coach. So he was busy year round. But after he would, get done with his practice at school, he would come home and practice with us, me and my little brothers in the backyard. So there was just always competition going on at our house, and I think that's where I got my athletic ability from. Is just being outside and playing and competing in as many things as I could. So, and being a part of a team so young, I think really allowed me to understand that my life isn't all about me. And I think that's one of the greatest blessings that siblings can give you is
Definitely.
it was never about me. It was never only about me. I always had someone else's interest to look out for and to prioritize. And I think that that's made a huge impact on the way I approach my athletic career, but also my career as a coach as well. I always want to make sure that I'm looking at other people and listening to other people and what their experiences are, and that all starts with where and how I grew up.
So talk about the environment around Morris growing up. I guess you say from conservative regulations standpoint. How was
I would say conservative. Yeah. It's a typical small town in Alabama. Like whatever you think of as in a small town in Alabama, that's what Morris is. I will say that the most amazing thing about our community is that it's a family atmosphere, and there are people that I still talk to this day that I went to high school with. I'm still really close with my high school softball coach, and I still love going home. And that's one of the coolest things I think is like when I get to go home, like back to a small town where everybody knows everybody. It's a really, really cool thing, and you can have conversations with people about what's going on in your life and what you feel like you're doing. That's big, that's important. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool.
And you went to Mortimer Jordan High School, right, in the Morris area, and then went to University of Alabama. We're gonna talk a little bit about your time there at Alabama, but first I want to kind of fast forward a little bit into kind of one of the main reasons we have you on today, and the recent events that you and your teammates were involved in that shook up the softball world recently. Yeah, that was on Monday, June 23rd, the night of the first game of the season for the Scrapyard Dogs. You saw that your general manager of that team that you were part of sent out a politically decisive tweet using your teammates' decisions to salute the flag and during the national anthem. So just talk to me about that night and take us through that through your eyes, through your perspective.
Yeah, it was, looking back on it, it's probably one of the craziest nights of my life, but also one of the more powerful nights of my life. So, I wasn't there. I had been sent home, to take care of a minor knee injury, so I was not at the game. Um, what happened was our general manager, like you said, sent out a tweet that we felt was, um, very divisive and not representative of what we believe as an organization, what we believe as human beings. It basically used us as pawns to, help the political views of our general manager, and so we didn't think that was okay. We felt like our voice as athletes had been taken away from us, and so we had so much support, from the very beginning of people wanting to help us out, and people being on our side with everything. And that's probably been one of the more powerful things to come out of this entire thing, is just how the softball community has really, kind of rallied behind us and stood behind us. But we made the decision as a group to walk away, and um, there was so much power in that, and so much, I don't want to say relief, but like almost relief that, what we did was very difficult to do, but we knew it was right. And at the end of the day, we felt like it had to be done. And so we walked away. We all put our jersey, everyone put their jerseys in the middle of the locker room, and walked out. And for me, like, I knew as soon as I saw the tweet, again, I wasn't there. As soon as I saw it and I was literally watching the team play, I was like, it doesn't matter what everyone else does. Like, I am done with this organization. That's it. Like, you don't need to use me to enhance your political views. I don't think that that's right. And so to hear kind of everyone be on the same page, like, yep, nope, we're all done, was pretty unifying. It was pretty cool. And even still, like to this day, we're still, fighting for what we think is right, and we're still trying to do a lot of things within the softball community as a whole to fight for racial equality, and correct some of the injustices that we see in our world, and especially in our sport. And we have people that love what we're doing, and that's absolutely incredible. It's a night I will never forget for as long as I live, and it changed me. It changed me because it showed me that I can stand up for what is right, and I can get flack for it, and I can get hate for it, and not care, because at the end of the day, like, I know what I did was right. I know what my teammates did was right. I know what we're fighting for is right, and that makes all the difference.
That's cool. And I remember that night very well myself because as a fan and as a former player, so I try to follow elite softball as close as I can. And as soon as I logged onto my Twitter account, I want to say around 8 and 9 o'clock Central Time that night, it was just flooded with response throughout the entire softball community, from Natasha Watley to Lauren Chamberlain to I think even Sue
Yep.
Inquist tweeted about it.
Mhm.
It was a crazy night for the sport, but it seems like you and your teammates definitely handled that situation fairly well. And like you said before, you weren't there because of your knee injury.
Right.
Um, did the general manager ever come to you personally to talk about it, or try to get your perspective, try to talk to you one on one?
No, I never heard from her. I have yet to speak to her since
Oh
everything
wow.
happened. So yeah, I sent out the tweet that my tweet was like very emotional that I sent, after everything was happening. So I was angry. I was angry, and a lot of us were. We were angry. We were sad. We were heartbroken, that we felt like we weren't cared for as people. We felt like that we were only there to produce a product on the field. But I think that gets confused a lot in the world of professional athletics. Right? Is like, people think that our job is to just play our sport and not worry about anything else. But we're still citizens of this country. We're
Yeah.
still citizens of this world, and things affect us just as much as they affect you and anyone else. So, yeah, no, I haven't heard from her. I don't really plan on hearing from her. And I hope that she uses this entire process to educate herself on, issues in this country and issues maybe of why the tweet in itself was politically insensitive and why we felt were being mistreated by it.
And was this something that y'all thought of in advance, like before the season, to either stand for the flag or kneel for the flag, or was it just game by game, or how society, this, I guess you say, the mood of society as well? Was
Yeah,
it discussed?
there have been conversations about it. I think with everything that happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and just all the protests that were going on throughout this country, there were conversations that were being had. And we were on the same page as players of we're going to support you in whatever your decision is to stand or to kneel for the flag. I was going to stand. I stand for the national anthem. That doesn't mean that I don't support social justice issues. But it's your right to do whatever you feel is right in that moment. And I think with this entire thing, one of the things that is really kind of prominent in my mind is we focus so much on the method of standing or kneeling instead of the message of why someone is standing or why someone is kneeling. I think we need to continue to listen because that's where change is going to happen. Change is going to happen in the conversation that this in and of itself sparks. And we have to pay attention to why, and we have to be willing to listen to why people don't want to stand. And that's conversations that you just have to have with people. But all of us as a unit, we're on the same page, and we're going to support you no matter what you want to do. Because at the end of that's what teammates do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're all in one. It's a, like in this case, it's a sisterhood. Like one do, all should follow, and just yeah. If you guys if you wanna disagree, you disagree behind closed doors. But when you're in public, you're a united front. And
right.
Yeah, but like you say, you guys are a united front because you guys decided not to stop with your stands that night with the walkout, but you took that walkout as a chance to do something more with your platform. And let me just cue this up for everyone to see. So, and it all started with this particular video here.
Monday night changed our lives.
While we were playing our first game of the season, a tweet was sent out on behalf of the organization that was insensitive, offensive, and ignorant to the movement going on in this country.
We will not stand for this.
We will not be spoken for.
We will not have our voices taken away.
We're here now to do 3 things.
The first is to raise awareness.
We are here to spark a necessary change in the softball community, gaining and sharing knowledge about racial injustice in our world.
The second is to empower.
We are here to encourage our community to love, accept, and to confidently stand up for themselves, those around them, and the Black community.
And the third is to unite.
We're here to instill strength and inspire cohesion between people of all backgrounds, communities, and walks of life.
We don't know what the future holds, but we can promise you that we will work to ignite change.
To listen.
To stand with the Black community.
And to stand up for equality.
We ask that you stand with us.
This is a new beginning.
This is us.
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 And that was the beginning of This Is Us Softball with that video. Tell me, how did it feel to come together as a team? You know, you're definitely social distancing at this time to come together to make that video.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think, again, it's a night I will never forget because there are so many people that we just decided as a unit to stand up for what we thought was right. And I think there's something so unifying in that. And yeah, it was just amazing. Our media team, Jade Hewitt, she put together that for us, and we really had to decide as a group, what do we want to what do we want people to learn from our experience going forward? And that's when those three words kind of came to be: awareness, empowerment, and unity. That's what we want to stand for. That's what we want our sport to stand for. That's what we want our sport to show. And now we're doing everything that we can, everything in our power to, accomplish all three of those things, not just within our softball community, but within the country. Hopefully we can get our message to spread throughout, and we can get people talking about what we feel like is important.
So where did the name come from? This Is Us. I mean, how did you guys come together to say that this is our name, and what's the meaning behind those three words?
It was just a lot of conversation, and that was what we felt like was the best thing that kind of encaptured who we are. We were no longer a part of the scrapyard organization. So who were we? Well, it's us. This is us. This is who we are. This is what we want to stand for. And it quickly became like a pretty freaking awesome idea. And I think awareness, empowerment, and unity, those three words were just a product of conversation and a product of listening. I think that's one of the things that has been really, really amazing to see is people are being, willing to listen. I think a lot of the issues that we have in our country right now, being so divisive, is people are just spouting their opinions at you, and no one's actually taking the time to listen to other people's experiences, to what other people have, gone through by being a Black person in this country. Like, I will never be able to understand that. I need to be able to listen to that and stand up with communities that are oppressed, and again, fight for what's right, fight for equality for every single human being.
And you keep bringing up the words that's pretty much seems like a motto for This Is Us Softball, with awareness, empowerment, unity. What do those three words mean to you, and why they're so important to the team as a whole?
Well, to me, I think starting with awareness, I think awareness is just having sort of your eyes open to an experience that really isn't your own, and being able to educate yourself through that process. Again, I cannot speak on what it's like to be Black in this country, but I sure can listen, and I sure can continue to use my platform to try to fight for change. And that's what that awareness piece is just being able to educate yourself on what has gone on in this country, and what is going on in this country, and being able to have an open mind and have an open heart to maybe, where you realize that the way that you previously thought is not correct. And maybe to realize your own privilege if you are, if you are white. That was a big part for me. So that's the awareness piece. I think the empowerment piece is we need to uplift Black voices, and we as white people, especially within our sport, need to be able to listen to those Black voices that we do lift up. I think females as a whole need to be a little bit more empowered with everything that's going. I mean, we could talk about the wage gap, and we could talk about all of these different things about how female professional athletes are just flat out treated differently and compensated significantly lower than men. So we need to be able to use our voices all collectively as a unit. And we want the next generation of softball players to feel comfortable using their voice, to feel comfortable standing up for what they believe is right, and not, shy back from sharing their views, because their voice matters, especially voices from the Black community that matter. And then unity is basically just being willing to be a part of a team, be a part of a unit, be a part of, a group of people fighting for one common goal and one common good. And for some reason, that is just not the case in this country right now. Everyone's kind of fighting for what they individually want. There's no collective, unity. We have to be willing to kind of lay our personal needs aside at some point, and willing to fight for the person next to us. And that's that unity piece. And that's something that athletes know all too well. I mean, just in the softball world alone, we've got people, everyone on our team, even all 18 of us on the roster, we come from different backgrounds. We don't have the same experiences. We all went to different schools. We all have different parents. We all have a different number of siblings. We all grew up in different areas. We are a diverse unit. We all have different beliefs, but we come together on the field for one common goal, and that's to win a softball game. And I think that's where we need to get as a country, is we need to all figure out what we want to fight for, get on that page, and fight like hell for it, because that's the only way you're ever going to get anything done. A house divided is not a house. It's going to fall right on down. You have to be one unit with one common goal.
Okay. Well, unless it's it's around Iron Bowl season, then if your house divided,
there you go. And roll tide all the way to that.
I'm not going to speak to that, but I would say I do have a great appreciation of Alabama softball. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
I'll take it.
All right. Well, with everything that happened back in June and just forming This Is Us softball and all the recent events involving social justice and racial equality in the country right now, was this the first time that you feel like you really had to face the reality of race relations in this country, or did it start at childhood and while you're at Alabama?
I had a very privileged upbringing. The town that I grew up in, there weren't a lot of Black people. I had Black friends, but it was definitely a majority white community. I
played a few tournaments up that way. So
I went to a majority white university, Alabama. And again, I had Black friends. I've always had Black friends, but I had never understood until I got my first strength and conditioning coach job at Florida A&M University, an HBCU in Tallahassee. I had known, like I said, I had known Black people. I had like so many Black friends, but hearing some of my players' stories and some of the athlete stories that I was privileged to coach there really just opened my eyes to a system of inequality and injustice. And I started to think to myself, the more I listened and the more I cared about my student athletes, the more I kind of started to open my eyes to like, okay, maybe this system does only work for me. And why does this system only work for me? Why didn't it work for them? And why do they experience this? And why are there not more Black kids playing softball? Like, you start to ask yourself all of these questions, and you just open your eyes to other people's experiences. And so I definitely think that my time at Florida A&M really solidified like where I stood on racial issues in this country, because there's just I don't know, and I'm so grateful for that experience too, because like that's how you learn, right? That's how you grow. That's how you change.
You expose yourself to different cultures and
exactly you expose other people's experiences, and just taking the time out of your day to just listen to other people's stories. It's powerful. It really is. It's so powerful.
Do you remember any particular conversation or conversation you had one of your players at Florida A&M that stays with you today, or maybe you revisited over the past few months with everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, I think there's I think when I realized how valuable the HBCU experience was for young Black kids, yes, like I mean, from your time scrambling, like that changed everything for me. Watching kids like just grow into their own and using their voices and being all that they were created to be, like watching that process unfold during my time there, watching people actually grow, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to fit into a white culture. You're just supposed to be you. You're just supposed to be you. And that was, I mean, like I said, it changed everything for me.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, because that was the main reason why I chose to go to an HBCU too. Even though I did grow up in a predominantly Black area and predominantly Black side of town, I just loved I wanted to be a part of not only experiences of just being a part of being able to go to school with people who look like me, but being able to not only be myself, but to see others who look like me be themselves sometimes for the first time in their lives. Because I went to school with plenty of people who had your background who looks like me, and it was the first time where they told me that, oh, this is the first time I've been around this many Black people in my life.
Right.
So, yeah, and just having that experience, it gave them, you say, a sense of closeness to the or closer. They bonded more with their heritage and their background, and appreciated their heritage even more just by going to HBCU. So
Absolutely.
I can definitely relate to that.
Such an empowering experience.
Yeah. So why do you think? I mean, like you said, before the whole movement that we're in right now, there are plenty of people who said that athletes should just, you should say, and the best way to say is, shut up and dribble, or in your case, just shut up and take back, or whatever. Yeah. And now you see athletes being more and more involved with what social injustice and just the current events that was going on today. Why do you think it's so important, not only to sports in general, but to the softball communities to be a part of this movement?
Well, I think the softball community in and of itself has always been a very tight-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think the softball community is not as diverse as it should be. Yeah. I think one of the main things, and in talking to a lot of my teammates on This Is Us, is we need to kind of diversify ourselves a little bit and give more opportunities to young Black girls that want to play our sport. And we need to use our platform to do so. And so the first thing that we have to do in that is to educate people on how we do need to be more diverse, and how great our sport is for everybody, not just, one race or one group of people in one part of the country. And so I think being an athlete in and of itself, like I said earlier, like, we're citizens of this country, we're citizens of this world as well.
Mm-hmm.
We live in this world just like you and everyone else. We have views just like you and everyone else, and we want to make sure that our sport is as diverse and open and inclusive as it possibly can be, because, like, what's the point if it's not? Like, yeah. Softball has changed people's lives all throughout this country and across the world, really. It's changed my life. It's changed my teammates' lives. And we want to make sure that opportunity is readily available in an equal amount to anyone that wants to play it. And the first thing that we have to do, like I said, is educate people on that and making them aware of what's really going on.
I just want to remind everyone again, if you're listen to us right now, if you have a question for Haylie, just drop them down in the comments and we'll get to those very shortly. We only have a few more questions left here in the interview. And Haylie, you were kind of mentioning what's ahead for This Is Us. What does the future hold for the program, and not only short term but long term?
Yeah, well, our season ended up getting canceled due to COVID-19. With the situation of how everything's going in Florida right now, decided it probably wasn't, safe to play at this current moment. And so right now,
the MLB is seeing the same thing, so understandable.
It's tough right now. But our main focus right now is to educate people and about our sport. And whether that's going to be in speaking engagements or interviews like I'm doing with you right now, or coming up with educational curriculum for travel ball organizations and coaches and players, really just getting our word and our message out there. That's our main goal right now. We're having team meetings all the time of what we actually want to do moving forward. But I think the biggest piece of that is it's those three words. It's raising awareness, it's empowering people, and it's trying to unify our sport for a better future. And so that's where we're headed. I think the future is really bright for us. I mean, we have 18 incredible women that are a part of this team, and like I said, with different backgrounds, all wanting to accomplish the same thing, and that's addressing inequality in this country, and particularly within our sport. And so if we can just continue to spread that message, we're going to like where we're at.
Okay. So how can anyone get involved with This Is Us softball? How can they keep up with the team as well during your off season as well? So.
Yeah, I would say definitely follow us on social media. That's where the majority of the content that we're putting out is going to be. We are at This Is Us SB on every platform, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. So that's where you're going to see the majority of the updates, and that's kind of how you can support us in that way. You can also go to our website. We have a store set up for all of our fun, awesome merchandise that is actually through BSN Sports, which is an amazing company that came on ready and willing to help us after kind of everything went down. So they set up an online store for us, and we've got some pretty cool stuff on there, some pretty dope stuff. If you guys want to check it out.
I picked up this tank myself, so
it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, just to get our message out there, and I would encourage people, the best way to support us is to have conversations with your family, with your friends about what is going on in this country, what you believe, what you stand up for, what you think is right, and be willing to have those tough conversations with people close to you, because that's where change happens. So don't be afraid to have those conversations.
Okay. And what's ahead for you right now? I know you say you're rehabbing, and now with the season canceled because of the pandemic. I'm pretty sure your focus is now on Tokyo. So just talk to us about that and what's ahead for you.
Yeah, so right now is really just rehabbing, making sure that I'm 100% healthy and ready to go. We have a new professional league that has formed that's going to take place in Chicago in September that I'm going to be a part of. It's called Athletes Unlimited.
Cool.
It's a pretty novel idea. It's basically you get drafted to a new team every week. And it's a point system. So you get a certain amount of points for winning. You get a certain amount of points for winning this inning. You get a certain amount of points for every single, double, triple home run that you hit. And at the end of the year, it's all stacked up. Like, this is player 1, this is on the leaderboard, and this is player 56 or whatever. So it's pretty cool. It's like almost like live fantasy sports.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's kind of cool. So I'm going to use that as a training opportunity, really just to get some competition in before, hopefully we get back training together with the national team. I think we have some stuff, this winter, if everything holds up with COVID. We're trying to get together in November and December, and then we'll try to put together another tour in the spring to get us ready to go to Tokyo in July of 2021 now. So that's kind of my main focus is, again, just getting healthy, trying to compete as much as I can, trying to grow as much as I can, learn as much as I can, and trying to be a better person every day and try to win an Olympic gold medal next year.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. I feel like you're living my dream because, like I said, I played softball for a good 12 years, and I just knew I was destined for. It's my goal was really to be destined for the Beijing Games in 2008. So I'm a little older than you, but yeah, I guess God had other plans for me. So that's why I'm here saying I'm using my love for the sport.
It all comes full circle.
I know, right? All right. Well, seems like our audience is a little shy today, but sometimes that happens. But we did get a few comments from Jose Francisco, who wanted to give you a bit of shout out there.
Oh, thanks, Jose. That's awesome. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, as we're wrapping up the interview here, are there any parts of the story of This Is Us softball that hasn't been hasn't given the justice it deserves right now, or anything that stood out you think is necessary for our audience to know about This Is Softball and what you're doing as well personally?
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand that one of the things that I have learned throughout this entire process is sometimes doing the right thing comes with flack, comes with people not necessarily agreeing with you, and that's okay. And always just be willing to 100% like convicted and standing up for what you believe in. That's what's most important. And I think if you are getting some hate, you're probably on the right track, because not every, like, change is hard. Change is always hard, no matter if it's in this country, no matter if it's in your personal life. Change is not easy. We are, as human beings, we are creatures of habit. And sometimes I especially think in the way society is right now, it's difficult for us to sometimes admit if we're wrong. We want to pretend like we know everything and get everything, and all of that stuff. We have to be willing to listen, and we have to be willing to continue to learn and grow. And that's one of the things that I'm so proud of all of the girls on our team for doing is everyone's kind of invested in that education process of like what do I need to learn so that I can share, so that I can help other people learn. That's how change happens. Change happens in those day-to-day things. Like, I'm not going to change the world with a tweet. I'm not going to change the world with an Instagram post, but I can change the world by changing one person at a time, and changing them by having a conversation with them and caring about them and respecting them. That's the biggest thing, It's respect. It's respect of listening to people's opinions that might be different than your own. And again, being willing to have a respectful conversation about it. That's where change happens. And that's the main thing I've learned, I think, throughout this entire process.
Is there anything you want to say to like any, you say, young softball players growing up and coming up right now? And do you have any advice for any young girl who could be watching, or any young guy, young boy who's dreaming for a career in the professional sports? Do you have any advice for them or anything?
Yeah, like don't stop working. Like if this game is something that you want to play, like play it until you're 50. Like who says that you can't? And I think too, I think everyone wants the end result, right? Like you dream
of glory.
Exactly. Like when I was younger, it was, I dreamed of playing basketball for Pat Summitt, and I dreamed of,
I swear we're living the same life. I had that same thought.
No, you dream of the result, but it's the process that actually gets us there. And so you have to be willing to like sacrifice something every single day, sacrifice your time, sacrifice your, whatever it is, like to work towards what you actually want to accomplish. And you can't get tired in that. You have to love the process. You have to love, spending hours and hours out at the field and getting your reps in. And I think too, to go along with that, I think that I think good people make better athletes. So one of the main things that I think people need to focus on is, if you do want to make it someday, like that's great and wonderful, but don't let that result, become your identity. Really focus on who you want to be as a human being. I think if you're a good human being, everything else will fall into place for you, and you'll be, that'll make all of those results even that much more sweet, because you did it the right way. And you were a good teammate all along the way, and you did it with people. You don't want to be that lone wolf. Like, I don't want to be a lone wolf with my gold medal in Tokyo. Like, I want to know that I did it with a group of 17 other women, and I couldn't have done it without them. That's what's going to make it special. It's not this one little medal that I'll have around my neck. It's the people and the memories that I made along the way. Like, it's the journey. It's not the destination.
Well, we'll definitely be rooting for you and Team USA probably when the Olympics come back around. Can't wait. Okay, you want to let everyone know how they can follow This Is Us Softball?
Yeah, it's at This Is Us SB on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can go leave us a supporting message if you want. And then our website is thisisussoftball.com. And you can find more information about our story, more information about the athletes, the incredible athletes on our roster. And you can support us by shopping at the merch store. Get yourself some pretty fire gear. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm waiting patiently for my tank to come in. I can't wait to wear it when I take BP. All right. Thanks so much, Haylie, for joining us today, and thank you for everyone who's tuned in today. We'll see you again next time. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.